Well, hello, my name is Jim Royal. I'm a huge Beatles and Elvis Presley fan and basically classic rock in general. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And at the end of the video, if you could do a thumbs up, that's always most appreciated. Feel free to leave comments. I always enjoy reading them, and I always do my best to respond to them in a timely manner. So today what I wanted to do is a Beatles Fantasy 1973 album, what would be on it? This is the idea that what if the Beatles had not broken up when they did in 1970? What if they continued as a band? And here we are in 1973 and it's time to do another album. And what I wanted to do is basically draw upon releases that the Solo Beatles had in that year. Okay? I have done videos, other videos like this already. I would encourage you to watch them. I did one for 1970, 71, and 72. So let's go with 73 here. So here are some of the rules. The idea is we're going to go with 14, normally we go with 14 songs per album, which is what the Beatles did up through Revolver. I'm going to go with 17 here just because there is so much material. Okay, and the Beatles were not a conventional band. They did what they wanted to do, and they did. So why don't I tell you what we have to choose from? And then we can go. We can move on here. So John Lennon had one album released called Mind Games. It had 12 songs on it. He had no non-album songs or anything like that, non-album tracks. So the thing with this is, as long as it's a song that was released in 1973, however it was, we can include it. All right, Paul McCartney. Very busy man. Now I know Red Rose Speedway was predominantly, I think most of it was pretty much recorded in 72, but Red Rose Speedway from Wings came out in 73, and then later Wings released another album at the end of that year called Band on the Run. Now Red Rose Speedway had 12 songs to choose from, and then Band on the Run had 10. Now there were some also singles. Live and Let Die was a non-album that was single that was from a soundtrack to the movie of the same name, a James Bond film. George Martin, the Beatle producer, produced that song. Wonderful tune. And then there is a song, the B-side to that was a non-album track called I Lie Around, which Denny Laine sang lead on. It was a Paul and Linda song. We're not going to include that one. And then there was also another single called Helen Wheels, which had a B-side called Country Dreamer. So we can pick that too if we want. All right, George Harrison had an album called Living in the Material World. That album had 11 songs on it. And then there was a single from it called Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. And there was a non-album track on there called Miss Odell as the B-side. And then finally, Ringo. He released his third album. It was simply titled Ringo. There were 10 songs on it. Had a lot of help from his friends, including the Beatles. Some of them wrote songs and recorded on the album. And there was a single from that called Photograph, which had a B-side, non-album track called Down and Out. Okay? So what I'm doing when I'm picking this, I'm going to give Ringo 3 songs. Normally Ringo on a Beatle album would be given 1. But I'm doing 3 just because the enormous wealth of material that we have here. Also, I firmly believe that if Ringo had written more and he had songs that were up to the Beatles' caliber, I really firmly believe that the Beatles would have recorded those songs. George, I'm going with 3 songs on this album. Now George would normally be given 2 songs per album. Though with Revolver in 1966 they gave him 3, so I don't think it would be out of the question by the 70s that they would give him 3 songs. Alright, John, I had some trouble with John just finding material that I thought was suitable for a Beatles Fantasy album. I'm going with 4 from him. And the thing is that I tend to do is, you know, it's like putting the Beatles in a bubble in 1969, 1970 right there and just saying, okay, you know, it's got to sound just like that. Well, it doesn't. You know, the Beatles, they evolved through the years. You know, songs like I Want to Hold Your Hand from 1963 did not sound like Helter Skelter in 1968. They changed. They continued to grow as musicians. So that's the other thing that I'm trying to keep in mind when I'm doing this, that yeah, they would evolve and change a little bit. So there are some exceptions here. And then I'm giving Paul 7 just because of the fact that he had 2 albums released that year and just was very busy. Alright, so I'm going to call this Beatles Fantasy 1973 album, what would be on it? I'm going to call this Love is the Answer. That is the album title. And of course, George Martin would produce it, right? Okay. Alright, so let's start out with this. Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth would be the first song. Talk about a message that the Beatles always talked about and preached. This is a George Harrison song, wonderful tune. I could easily see the Beatles doing this one. And I can only imagine, it's great to begin with, but can you imagine if George Martin and the Beatles produced this like they produced Abbey Road? Wow. It's great to begin with, but I can only imagine the possibilities. Alright, song number 2 is Photograph. This is a song that Ringo wrote with George Harrison. And to me, it is my favorite Ringo solo song, period. Wonderful. I could see them doing this. This is just such a nice tune. It's just great. Alright, third song is called My Love. Talk about a Beatle ballad. Paul McCartney, Red Rose Speedway, My Love. Nice piano song. I've always enjoyed this. I've always envisioned that this would be something that they would do. Alright, fourth song is called Mind Games. This is from John Lennon, and there's a line in there, Love is the Answer. And that is directly from here, and that's why I called the title to the album that line, Love is the Answer, from Mind Games. Mind Games is great. John Lennon had this song as early that I know of from during the Let It Be sessions. I think it was called Make Love Not War at that point. And there would be several revisions through the years till, you know, we came up with this the way it was in '73. But I've always enjoyed this one. Alright, Band on the Run. Wonderful tune from Paul and Wings. Beatles sounding all the way through. I just have always enjoyed it. I like the changes. Just really good. Alright, the next song I'm going with is Live and Let Die. This was from the James Bond movie. Wow. Explosive, you know, just really, really good. Alright, song number 7 is Intuition. This is from John Lennon. Catchy little number, not spectacular, but it's one that stands out. It's one that I just don't forget. It's catchy. I've always enjoyed it. Alright, song number 8, Living in the Material World. This is title of George's album. And yeah, I could see the Beatles doing this. You know, George presented different things, and they would do it. This would something on his mind, like Taxman from, you know, the Revolver days. Living in the Material World. Alright, song number 9 would be I'm the Greatest. This would probably close this side out, I think. I'm not sure. It depends on how long the songs are. But anyway, this would either close out the side or start the second half of the album. I'm the Greatest is a song that John Lennon wrote. He gave it to Ringo Starr, and it was great. It's a song that 3 of the 4 Beatles performed on. Paul was absent. They had Klaus Voormann on bass on it instead. And, you know, it's a nice tune. I had to include it on this fantasy album. You got 3 of the 4 Beatles on there. You got to include it, right? Now, would the Beatles be singing a song, I'm the Greatest? Probably not, but if there was one member of the band that could sing it and probably get away with it, and he did, it would be Ringo. Alright, next song is called Bluebird. This is song number 10. Bluebird does not sound like Blackbird, okay? It's from Band on the Run. It's a good tune. I'm picturing right now what the vocal harmonies would be between the 3 Beatles on this, like Because, you know, just all the wonderful things they were able to give us, just what they would be able to do with this song. Nice simple tune. It's always been fun for me. Alright, song number 11 is called Out the Blue. This is a simple little love song that John wrote. I think he wrote it for Yoko. Just really nice tune. It's one of those things that just sticks in your head. You just remember it. It's a nice song. All right, song number 12. I know some of you are going to say, Jim, why are you putting this one on there? Little Lamb Dragonfly. This is from Red Rose Speedway. It's a nice tune. You know, I mean, come on. You don't think that Paul would submit this? You know, he had him record Maxwell's Silver Hammer. He had him record Obla Di, Obla Da. Why wouldn't he? You know, it's a nice tune. I've always enjoyed it. And I could see it on my Fantasy Beatle album from '73. Song number 13 is called 6 O'Clock. This is a song that Paul McCartney wrote for Ringo, and he performed on it with him and his wife Linda. And they do a great job with Ringo. It's just a fun song. It's very uplifting, very positive. I like it here being toward the end of the album. It keeps things going. It's really nice. All right. Miss Odell is song number 14. This is that non-album B-side to Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth from George. This was about a woman named Chris Odell who was his personal assistant at one time to him and Patty. And she started out at Apple Records and then she did different duties through the years. Nice tune. This is a nice homegrown, acoustic, very simple song. He's having fun, bursts of laughter several times through the song. Just had a great time. I could see the Beatles having fun recording it. All right, song number 15, Let Me Roll It. This is from Band on the Run from Paul. You know, I don't know. I read somewhere that someone thought that this could be like a John song or John could be singing it. Well, you know, now he's on it on the Fantasy album anyway. I've always enjoyed that one. All right, You Are Here is another song from John from Mind Games, and this is a love song, you know, to Yoko. Very simple message, but all of us can understand it very completely. And this was one that John said in interviews that he felt was more like a Paul McCartney type song, the way he wrote it. So, you know, it would be great on this album. It's very fitting that it would be put on there. The last song to close this album is Jet. Now, I know, you know, I was thinking kind of hesitant, I don't know, would the Beatles have that Jet sound? I don't know. Like I said, just keeping them in that bubble from 69, 70, that period, and saying that they couldn't change or do anything different would be wrong. So that would be closing out my album. So anyway, I wanted to say happy holidays to all of you. I very much appreciate you watching my videos and watching this one. And you take care, okay? Bye.